Warning: this video contains sensitive subject matter and is best suitable for adult audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. On October 2nd, 1999, 3-year-old Jaryd Atadero vanished in the Colorado wilderness, just feet away from a group of adults who were supposed to be watching him. 25 years later, the mystery still hangs over the Poudre Canyon like a shadow. What happened to Jaryd, and why does this case remain one of the most chilling disappearances in modern Colorado history? Tonight, we walk into the canyon. This is the story of a little boy who loved dinosaurs, who trusted the adults around him, and who stepped into the woods one fall morning and never came back. A massive search would follow. Wildlife experts, dogs, helicopters, and hundreds of volunteers all joined in. And yet, after months, nothing was found. Not until nearly 4 years later, what was eventually discovered raised more questions than it answered and ignited debates that continue even today. The Poudre Canyon sits west of Fort Collins, Colorado, a rugged world of cliffs, thick trees, and steep, twisting trails. This is not a place for the unprepared, and certainly not for small children. In 1999, Jaryd lived with his father, Jaryd Atadero, who owned a small mountain lodge in the canyon. Guests came for fishing trips, scenic hikes, and the cool mountain air. On the morning of October 2nd, a Christian singles group staying at the lodge invited Jaryd and his 6-year-old sister to join them on a hike up the Big South Trail. Alan agreed. He had no way of knowing that this moment, this single decision, would haunt him for the rest of his life. The group set out along the Big South Trail, about 10 adults and 2 children, but Alan stayed behind. And here is where the tragedy begins. Multiple people later recalled that the group fragmented quickly. Adults hiked at different speeds. Some moved ahead while others lagged behind. Jaryd and his sister drifted toward the front. At one point, witnesses claimed they saw Jaryd running ahead, laughing, excited, energized, in that way only a 3-year-old can be. Some adults shouted for him to come back. He kept going. Moments later, he disappeared around a bend. Those were the last confirmed moments anyone saw Jaryd alive. When the hikers realized Jaryd was no longer in view, they backtracked. Then they split up. Panic started to creep in. Less than an hour later, someone sprinted back to the lodge to tell Alan the unthinkable. "Your son is missing." Alan immediately called 911, and in minutes, the largest search in Poudre Canyon history was underway. The search effort was enormous, with over 200 people, including Colorado Search and Rescue, local sheriff's deputies, canine units, and volunteers from multiple counties. But there were problems. The area was steep, wooded, and carved by dangerous cliffs. The Big South Trail follows the roaring Poudre River, and for a 3-year-old, one misstep could be fatal. Search dogs picked up nothing. Helicopters scanned the cliffs and found nothing. Thermal cameras found nothing. Despite the best efforts of professionals and volunteers, the operation suffered from miscommunication, trails not being searched in a consistent pattern, volunteers inadvertently erasing scent tracks, and weather turning cold and dangerous. Days passed, then weeks, then winter. By November, after tens of thousands of man-hours, the search was officially scaled back. But Alan never stopped. For nearly 4 years, no one knew what happened to Jaryd. There were theories that he fell into the river, that he wandered off and succumbed to the cold, or that something more sinister, something human, was involved. None could be proven, all were devastating. But then on June 14, 2003, a startling discovery changed everything. Two hikers were exploring a ridge nearly 550 feet above the trail, a steep, difficult climb no child Jaryd's age could reasonably make. There, scattered in a small cluster, they found a child's tooth, a fleece jacket, a pair of pants, one shoe, and pieces of Jaryd's skull. Search teams were stunned, experts were confused, the location itself was baffling, and the condition of the clothing was even more strange. Jaryd's pants were found turned inside out, as if someone had removed them that way, yet they were remarkably intact with no blood and no obvious tears. His fleece jacket, on the other hand, showed signs, some attributed to potential wildlife damage, though even that was debated. To this day, no one agrees on a definitive explanation. Some investigators believe a mountain lion took Jaryd. Big cats are common in the canyon and attacks can be swift, but experts counter that mountain lions typically drag prey downhill, not hundreds of feet uphill, especially not such a steep climb. And most importantly, there was no evidence of a mountain lion destroying Jaryd's clothing. No rips, tearing, punctures, or fabric damage of any kind. In an actual attack, a mountain lion's claws and teeth would leave obvious, violent marks on clothing. Jaryd's items showed none of that. Others believe Jaryd fell into the Poudre River and was swept downstream, yet none of his clothing showed sediment damage typical of river transport, and the items were found at high elevation, far from the riverbanks. There is speculation that a person may have abducted Jaryd or moved his remains, but no evidence ever supported this. The most conservative explanation is that Jaryd wandered off, got lost, succumbed to exposure, and was moved by animals, but even this theory fails to explain the extreme vertical location of the remains. In the end, every theory explains something, but not everything. Jaryd Atadero dedicated years of his life to searching, demanding answers, and honoring his son. He worked to improve Colorado's search and rescue protocols, advocating for clearer communication and better coordination to prevent similar tragedies. To this day, Allen maintains that critical mistakes were made during the initial hike and the initial search. His voice, steady but broken, remains one of the most painful parts of the story. The disappearance of Jaryd Atadero is a reminder of how quickly a moment can become a nightmare. Jaryd's story lingers not because of sensational theories, but because of the heartbreak at its core, and that no one will ever truly know what really happened to him. Subscribe to Illuminate Stories and don't forget to like, share, and hit the bell.